Welcome back guys to another Medporium video. Today we're going to go over a quick and basic tutorial on how we like to use Anki as premeds. Now we love Anki because it has active recall and space repetition all in one. It's free, it's very easy to sync and share across with your friends. You can share your cards with your friends, and it has just a bunch of powerful tools that really help us whenever we're learning a bunch of material. So first things first, let's go to our browser and we're going to search up Anki download. And it's going to be this first one here with this blue star and gray background. Now, our very first step, which a lot of people tend to skip on, is to create an Anki web account. So we're just going to click sign up, and you just put in an email and a username. And this is helpful whenever we do the sync option. So if you get a different laptop, you can just log in with your username and your passcode, and you can access your cards across multiple devices. So now let's go back. And let's scroll all the way to the bottom, and we're going to download the one that fits our device that we're using. So if you have a PC, you're going to do Windows, and if you have a Mac, you're just going to stick here. So once you've gone through all the downloading steps, we're going to open up Anki. It's going to be in your applications, and this is the first thing we're going to see. This is our home page, and every time you open up Anki, this is what you're going to see. It looks a little bit boring, but don't worry, we're going to fix it and make it look nice. So up here we have the navigation bar. So decks, this is kind of like our home page. Add is where we're going to add cards. Browse is you can locate cards once you have a bunch. Stats, it can show you your stats whenever you're studying. And also the sync button, that's what I was talking about. We can just type in that email we used and the passcode, and now I can access it and it will sync to my device. Now let's go down below here. We have get shared. Now this is pretty cool. If we click on get shared, now we can go to the Anki web, because there's a bunch of people that use Anki and they've created like thousands of cards with like free MCAT flashcards, free USMLE flashcards, and there's basically a flashcard for everything, so you can find it here. Now let's go back to Anki, and we have create deck and then import file. Now one more thing with the sort of preferences, if we go here, we can go to preferences, and you can customize it to the way you want. You can have a light theme, a dark theme. Okay, so now we're back to our home page. Now the first thing we have to do is create a deck before we create a card. So we're going to go down here and we're going to just do create deck. Now decks are basically your subjects, and a cool thing with Anki is you can sub-embed your subjects like Russian nesting dolls. So here's what I mean by that. I'm going to do Chem 120. And now let's say I want to study just for exam 3. And let's say I specifically want to study chapter 17 for exam 3. I'm just going to add it here. Now, the cool thing is we're just going to hold and drop it in here. And then we're going to hold and drop this. And if we click the plus button, it'll show what's underneath this, what's embedded inside. And we're just going to drop chapter 17 in there. So now I can study just chapter 17, or I can just study all of Chem 120 if I click it. Now let's add another one. Let's just make this Bio 112. Okay. So now let's go ahead and add our cards. So we're just going to click on Chem 120 and we're going to do add. Now let's double check that we have the correct deck. Let me go specific. Let's do just for chapter 17. I can select it here. And for the type. Now Anki has 3 main types of flashcards. You have the basic one that it's like how you see on Quizlet. You have the closed deletion, which is like fill in the blank. And then you have image occlusion, which is best for diagrams, and we'll go over each of them. So let's start with basic. Now basic is just like your normal Quizlet one, so let's do in a charge of the anode. And it's going to be, our answer is going to be negative, right? Let's double check, and then we're just going to click add. And now it's saved into our Chem 120 chapter 17. So we've just made our first basic one. Now let's do the close deletion. Close deletion is, like how I said, fill in the blank. So for example, if we do change concentration is negligible if, let's do, and also a cool feature is they have subscripts here, and you can have bullet points, and you can add attachments like photos as well. So we can do the subscript here. It becomes helpful whenever we're doing chem. Okay, now to make this a card, we have to highlight what we want to block out, what we want to memorize. So we're going to click this button here and this one. So now it says C1 and C2, which basically just means card 1 and card 2. Now if you want to study both of them at the same time, you can just change that 1 or that 2 to a 1 like so, and or you can just click this button here. So now we're just going to click add, and let's take a look at what they look like. So we're just going to exit out. Let's go back to our home page. So it says we have 2 new cards in Chem 120. We're just going to do that, and we're just going to do study now. So in a galvanic cell, what is the charge of the anode? We click the space bar and it's going to reveal the answer. Now over here, we can click edit, and you can edit as you go, and you can add photos if you want. And as soon as you click close, it will save automatically. Now here's the very fun part of Anki that separates it from all other flashcard softwares, and it's these 4 buttons here, the spaced repetition buttons. And I could talk for days on how much I love this, because let's say I still need to learn this subject and I'm not that good at it. I will click again, which will show me the card in approximately about a minute. Let's say I was okay, I'm going to click good, so I'll see it again in like 10 minutes. And let's say I'm just really spot on and I'm really good, I'm just going to click 5 days. And you can customize these, and we'll go over that as well. But if I click 5 days, I will see this card again in 5 days. And it's really helpful whenever you're preparing for finals, which are coming up, and exam 3, which is coming up. So for us, and it's just really helpful for spacing out your learning. Okay, now let's say I'll just see it again in 10 minutes. And this was our close deletion cards. And we're going to click space, and there's our answer. So now we created basic and closed cards. Now let's do the last type, which is image occlusion, and those are best for diagrams. So we're going to do this for Bio 112 this time. We're going to click add, and over here in type, we're going to select image occlusion. And this is what you're going to be prompted to see. Now, usually what we like to do is we like to go into lecture and sort of split screen our screens, and whenever the prof says, hey, this diagram is going to be on the exam, or this statement you have to memorize for the exam, we're just simply like copy and paste it into Anki, and we either make it a basic, a close, or image occlusion, and it saves a bunch of time for studying whenever you're creating the flashcards. So we're going to click select image, and we're just going to go with this one. And we're going to make sure that the blue rectangle is highlighted, and we're just going to drag and hold to create our box. Now these yellow boxes, these are going to be what we have to regurgitate and what we're going to be prompted to memorize. Just like so, and we're going to click add. And then whenever we exit out of here, it's going to say in Bio 112 we have 4 new cards. So we're going to open it, and that is what it looks like. Click the space bar. I will see it again in 4 days because I'm good at it. And that is image occlusion. Now we've finished all 3 main types of Anki flashcards. There's a bunch of more advanced ones that we can download, but I like to keep it simple with those 3. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the settings. So if we click on settings, I can rename. We're going to skip over to export. And whenever you click export, it will send it as like a file, and it will pop up on your desktop. And this way you can text your cards, you can email your cards or link your cards, and people can access them as long as they have Anki as well. Now, okay, we're going to click options. And first thing I like to do is I like to max out my cards. So sometimes whenever I'm studying a bunch of things, I want to make sure I see all my cards and so they don't get stopped out because of the limit. Now, these are the settings. Um, it's very kind of complicated. I just like to keep it simple as what it is in default mode. Now, I'm going to link some videos down in the description because people get really deep into it. There's like hour-long videos on people explaining the science behind it. But me personally, I just leave it as normal and as default. Now, if we scroll down, there's a bunch of other things that y'all can customize. I sometimes like to put on a timer because if I'm going through a lot of cards, the timer will just reveal the answer even if I click the space bar or not. So it helps whenever you're studying a bunch of cards and you have to get through them regardless. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for settings. Now, finally, let's make this look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing because it is kind of boring. So what we can do is we're gonna go back to our browser and we're gonna do review heat map Anki. Now there's a bunch of these custom add-ons and people really customize them, but I like to keep it simple, like I said, and I just go with the review heat map. I like it because it shows my streak and it's pleasing to my eye whenever I see it. It kind of motivates me to keep up my streak and keep going. So we're just going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and we're just going to copy and paste this link or these code of numbers. So we're going to copy that. And then we're going to go back to Anki. We're going to go to Tools. We're going to click Add-ons and get add-ons. And we're just going to paste that code here that we got. It says, okay, it's downloading. The download is complete. So we're going to have to restart it. And when we open it up again, we should see our heat map. And this is pretty cool. It shows you the days you've studied, how many cards you've studied in those days, your streak, and also it will show you when your next cards are due. So I have a card due April 11th. So you can also customize that here. And you can also change the background and just customize it how you like. But this is sort of what we have going on here. I like it simple, I like it clean, and that concludes our Anki tutorial. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys implement this. And as always, a Pomodoro a day will make you a doctor someday. Thank you.